All right, let's get right into it. We all have that voice in our head, right? The one that's constantly running a commentary on our lives. But what happens when that voice turns against us? Well, today we're going to walk through a really simple but powerful framework to help you take back control of that inner dialogue. The goal here is to turn your biggest critic into, believe it or not, your most powerful ally. So let me just ask you this straight up. What does the voice in your head tell you? I mean, really, is it your biggest cheerleader, a neutral observer, or is it your harshest critic? The truth is, for a lot of us, that inner voice can be our own worst enemy. Does this sound, I don't know, a little too familiar? I can't do anything right. I'm so stupid. It's such a common thing for that inner critic to say. This kind of thought can just pop into our heads automatically. And if we're not careful, we can actually start to believe it's true. And that right there is the very core of negative self-talk. So let's put a name to it. Negative self-talk is basically any inner dialogue where you criticize, judge, and just undermine yourself. And here's the real trap. Our brains often treat these thoughts like they're indisputable facts. But, and this is so important to get, they're not facts. They're just opinions. And a lot of the time, they're pretty distorted and unhelpful ones at that. And look, this isn't just about feeling down for a few minutes. This constant self-criticism can spiral into some really serious consequences. We're talking everything from anxiety and depression to a totally shattered self-esteem. It can even lead to self-sabotaging behaviors, where we unconsciously act in ways that just confirm our worst beliefs about ourselves. It's a really vicious cycle that can mess with every single corner of your life. But here is the good news, and it is really good news. You are not stuck with this narrative, not at all. You absolutely have the power to change it. So we're going to walk through a practical 4-step framework that will help you transform into an observer, a detective, an architect, and finally, a gardener for your own mind. Okay, first up, step 1, become an observer. This is the foundation for everything else. It's all about learning to just notice your thoughts without immediately getting tangled up in them. You know, think of it like watching clouds drift across the sky. You notice them, you acknowledge they're there, but you don't become the cloud. You are the sky. So how do you actually do this? Well, you start by just paying attention. What situations or maybe what people trigger that inner critic? Is it during a stressful meeting at work? Or maybe when you're just mindlessly scrolling through social media? Try jotting it down in a journal. The simple act of moving a thought from your head onto a piece of paper creates distance. It externalizes the critic, which lets you see it way more objectively. By just acknowledging these thoughts without accepting them as the gospel truth, you start to take away their power. That recognition is empowerment. So once you've learned to observe, you are ready for step 2, become a detective. Now that you can see the thought clearly, it's time to investigate it. You're basically going to put that negative thought on trial and really question whether it's legit. And here's a 5-step process for your investigation. First, you just spot the thought. Then you actively look for any evidence that supports it. After that, and this is the big turning point, you actively hunt for evidence that proves the thought is false. Next, you reframe it into something a little more balanced. And finally, you just face it head on and ask yourself, you know what? Even if this were true, so what? How would I handle it? This completely robs the thought of its fear factor. And here's what that process looks like in action. Instead of getting stuck on a thought like, I'm a failure, you pivot to a constructive question. Okay, what did I learn from this? Instead of, nobody likes me, you ask, wait, who have I connected with? You're transforming a dead-end statement into a productive inquiry, which is honestly a total game changer. This leads us perfectly into step 3. Now you become the architect of your own mind. It's time to actively design and build new thought patterns, really constructing a healthier, more supportive inner world right from the ground up. This is all about the power of cognitive reframing. Just look at this example. The old thought is, I always mess things up. It's so absolute, so final. The new, reframed thought is, I've made mistakes and I can learn from them. See that difference? It acknowledges what happened, but it does it without the harsh judgment, and it opens the door to actually growing from it. And here is one of the most powerful tools in your Architect's Toolkit. It's a tiny 3-letter word that can completely transform your entire mindset. And that word is yet. Just look at how this works. A fixed mindset says, I can't do this. It's a full stop. End of story. But a growth mindset says, I can't do this yet. That one little word changes absolutely everything. It turns a statement of permanent failure into a statement of temporary circumstance. It implies that progress is not just possible, but expected. You're on a journey. So, the other building blocks in your architectural plan are positive affirmations. Think of these as the steel beams reinforcing your new mental structure. And this isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about consciously and intentionally reinforcing your own self-worth. Repeating statements like, I am capable, or I am learning and growing every day literally helps to rewire your brain over time, making positivity your new default setting. And finally, after you've observed, investigated, and started building your new mindset, you get to step 4, become a gardener. Because any new structure needs ongoing care to really thrive. This step is all about the daily practice of cultivating a positive mental environment, nurturing those seeds of self-compassion. And the core idea behind this mental gardening is so simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend. I mean, think about it for a second. Would you ever say to a friend, you're so stupid? No way, of course not. You'd offer them support and encouragement. Self-compassion is all about giving yourself that exact same grace. So here are a few daily actions for your gardening routine. Practicing gratitude actually rewires your brain to look for the positive. Moving your body releases endorphins, which is like a natural mood booster. And this is a big one. Manage your environment. Curate your social media feeds. Surround yourself with supportive friends. All of this protects your mental garden from toxic weeds. Now, as you start putting all of this into practice, there is one crucial mindset to adopt. This is about progress, not perfection. You're still going to have negative thoughts. That's totally normal. The goal isn't to become some kind of perfect, positive robot. And I really want you to let this sink in for a moment. Your worth is not determined by your thoughts. A thought is just a fleeting mental event. It's a cloud passing in the sky. It doesn't define the sky. And your thoughts, they don't define you. You are so much more than your inner critic. So what this all really comes down to is this. The ultimate goal isn't to completely silence the inner critic forever. It's to fundamentally change your relationship with it. You'll learn to see it, to challenge it, and to choose not to let it drive. You can acknowledge it's there in the passenger seat without handing it the keys to your life. And I want to leave you with this one last powerful question. After everything we've just talked about, what is one kind thing you can say to yourself right now, today? Just start there. Because mastering your inner dialogue really does begin with a single compassionate thought.